So this is weird, I got 2 cows staring me down as I'm cooking this steak. You think they know I'm grilling one of their brethren? Very, very weird vibe. And of course, we've got some hopeful dogs hanging around as well. The dogs are on my side though. In the last travel episode, we left off as we crossed the border into Canada after a wonderful time in Minnesota. In today's episode, we experience a truly unique camping stopover at a harvest host with a beautiful stay in Ontario's Sunset Country before it and some epic sightseeing after it as we drive back to Toronto via the famous Trans-Canada Highway along the north shore of Lake Superior. And stay tuned until the end as I also reveal everything I learned about living out of an RV, including how much I spent on this 13-day, 3,000-mile trip. So I'm thinking about the question, where are you coming from in the context of a border crossing or a ground border crossing? I mean, I came from the other side. Now that we're across the border, it's still very flat here on the Ontario side, but that's going to change into the rugged beauty of the Canadian Shield as we head toward tonight's campground, Rushing River Provincial Park. It's 6:15 p.m. and we have a 2-hour drive. If we don't stop along the way, we should be able to set up camp in daylight. Let's go. So I've arrived at Rushing River, and what can I say? It's a tough life, but somebody's got to do it. Scored a beautiful lakefront site. It's Dogtooth Lake. So in the lottery win of all lottery wins, I am level hitched. I'm only here for one night, so level side to side and level front to back, just like that. So I'm just gonna leave it. Good morning. We are here in Mosquito Land in Northern Ontario. I'm at Rushing River Provincial Park. So this here is a perfect example of a site where a big rig's just not going to cut it. So you can see I'm almost right up against the trees here. Now, getting out, so what I did is I actually drove in right up to that little rock there and then backed it in. I don't think it's going to be quite that simple getting out though, but we'll see. I'm thinking maybe what I'll do is I'll put the wheel on the trailer and just push the nose over, and then I'll just be able to drive right out and I won't have to do the same shenanigans that I did to get in here in the first place. But guys, what a stunning sight. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, can you think of a better spot for a fire pit? Wow. And do I have waterfront access? You bet I do. And here we go. So it's a little steep, but definitely no problem getting down the rocks here. It's kind of like steps. Perfect spot to put in a kayak right down here. And Dogtooth Lake. Beautiful. So originally the plan was to just stay here one night, didn't even unhitch, and it was just to get out of Dodge and go mooch dock in my mom's driveway, but town is only 20-minute drive away, or half an hour. It's very close. So I'm still gonna visit mom today, but I had decided to book one more night. The campsite was available. Couldn't resist. I mean, this is just too stunning to just, you know, run away. We're all set up. Got my chair, got the solar panel, and yeah, I'm not going to put out the dining tent because I probably don't need it, and besides it's going to rain tonight and I don't want to have to pack it up wet. So I may eat outside, I may eat inside. Mosquito. Now it's time to go into town and visit my mom. Alrighty, mom is camera shy, so we'll pick things up tomorrow morning with a beautiful hike in the park, and through the magic of video, it's tomorrow, right? Let's go explore the park a little bit. And there's the beach, which has been taken over by Canada geese. So normally I wouldn't walk through this campsite, but given that it's unoccupied, I don't think anybody's gonna mind. So we are going to check out the South Rapids Trail. I've done this trail many times. It's one of my favorite trails. It's very short, like half an hour, but it's just got a little bit of everything, as you'll see. Sure got a stunning day today. So this is my first real solo trip. Now, having said that, for work I used to travel a lot solo, but I mean it would just be 3, 4, maybe 5 days at a time, and you always knew you were coming home. It is a little different being out here on the road for a while and not really being sure when you're going to get home. And I'll tell you one thing, I mean, I'm enjoying myself in these experiences, but it's not the same without Lila and without the kids. I really miss them. And there's something about sharing something like a little hike like I'm doing right now, as opposed to doing it by yourself, that just makes it more fun. So I don't know if this solo thing is really going to be for me. And I know Lila especially is missing me a lot, so it's hard on both of us. And I've only been gone for geez, not even a full week yet. This is like day 6, I think. So yeah, I mean, I think if you're a single person, then this type of thing would make sense, but or wouldn't be as hard because you're kind of used to being on your own, I guess. But anyway, really missing the fam. I'm wishing they could be here with me. That's the first time I've gone through that stretch and not seen a woodpecker. So a little tip, if you're hiking in Ontario provincial parks, you are going to run into this a fair bit. So a little tip is, you see where the nails or the screws are in? So that's where the beam is underneath. So you probably want to walk there so that if the wood gives out, at least you're on a supported section, not the part that's actually going to fall through. We were on a hike at Misty Lake, and a gentleman, I think he was from, well, somewhere in Europe, maybe Germany, and he went through and kind of hurt himself. So you want to just make sure you're stepping on those spots. And Ontario parks, come on, we pay a lot of money for our campsites, for our day use passes. Please put some of that back into repairing these boardwalks. It shouldn't be kind of like a calculated risk to walk across a boardwalk on a trail. Don't you find it amazing and awe-inspiring? Even in this tiny river right in the center of the continent, you can see the relentless will of the water to find its way to the ocean. So this is just a little loop trail. So now we just go back on the other side of the river to the park entrance. Very pretty little trail. Only about a half an hour to complete it. Lots of beautiful little spots like this along the way. Wow. So we're in Northwestern Ontario, just east of the Manitoba border, so just before the prairies start. And this would be Canada's version of flyover country, I guess. And it's not really on a lot of people's radar, but I'll tell you, as an RVing destination, especially if you like fishing, because there's just fishing everywhere here. This is a pretty tough spot to beat. And what's interesting is that trying to get a campsite in southern Ontario, like near Toronto, in the dead of summer can be extremely difficult, even on a weekday. But here at Rushing River, usually, even if you're booking last minute, you can get a site. So I got that beautiful waterfront site booking last minute, and I extended it even a night last minute. And I tried to extend it again today, but somebody beat me to it for tonight, so I'm gonna have to move. I'm gonna move into town. It'll be more convenient for some of the stuff I need to do in town anyways. So classic Ontario parks here. So rather than fixing it, they'll just tape it off. And I guess we're going down this way. Come on guys, fix it. There's a turtle. And that's it for the South Rapids Trail. It's a beaut. Well, seeing as how I wasn't able to extend it one more night, I guess I'm moving on. So I gotta go pack up camp and head on into town. We are back to our little Carolyn trailer. So to simplify getting out, that's why I put the wheel on. Just pulled the nose this way And I think I should just be able to drive right out of here. I'm a little nervous about this rock though. Have to go real slow because I think I'm going to have to go over it. Phew, my ground clearance was just adequate. Now I'm going to feature Kenora in a video later this summer, so let's pick things up with my business there concluded and me on my way back to Toronto for my daughter's birthday. Good morning everybody. We're now heading out, leaving Anishinaabe Park. Nice park by the way, around $50 a night Canadian for full hookups, which based on what I've been seeing for KOA pricing seems probably like they're undercharging. Today's drive is 300 miles to Misty Creek Homestead, a harvest house just outside of Thunder Bay. We're going to tour the ranch and they've got a steak thawing for me. I'm looking forward to it, so let's go. It's a bit of a confession, but on this trip I really have not spent a whole lot of time outside at the campsites. Well, I did in Ohio, but once I got into Illinois and anywhere north of there, the mosquitoes have been so bad. I mean, it's just been clouds of mosquitoes. And yeah, you can do bug spray, and I had the dining tent. But honestly, I mean, I just don't enjoy fighting mosquitoes. You know, you get back to the trailer after a day, you probably just want to relax. You don't want to, and granted, I would love to relax outside on a chair, but sometimes the bugs don't let you do that in the spring, especially up here in the north. I've done a few hikes, I've done lots of stuff outside, but then when I get back to the campsite, oftentimes I will just hang out in the trailer. And I think that's different camping styles. Some people, the camping is the thing that they're doing. And speak of the devil, there's one just flew right by. I think I got it. Yeah, some people, you know, the camping is the thing, and so they want to be outside at the campsite, and they want to be doing stuff outside of the campsite and all that. That's typically not how we camp, so we leave the trailer in the morning, go do some kind of activity, and then come back to the trailer at night. And granted, if the bugs aren't so bad and the weather's nice, we probably we'll eat outside at the picnic table, we'll hang out outside. But in these spring camping trips where the mosquitoes and the black flies are just constantly attacking you, we might just go inside the trailer and watch a movie. Little point of interest here on the highway, we've hit the Arctic watershed. From here, all streams flow into the Arctic Ocean. We're at 504 meters. I'm guessing that's about 1,500 feet or so. Almost there to the farm. And here's our only glimpse of Lake Superior today, a long-distance preview of the vistas we're going to see tomorrow on the North Shore. And we've arrived. Well, there's nobody around to greet me, but they've told me to just head on in. I do have to make sure to close the gate behind me, though. The welcoming committee. All right, we are here at Misty Creek Homestead. They raise cattle. I think they also have some chickens and some other livestock, but mainly cattle. And so there is one of my purchases. Just have it marinating. I'll put that on the barbecue in a while. And well, let's go outside and take a look around. This is Carolyn. She's going to show us around the farm a little bit. And Carolyn, maybe you could just talk to us a little bit about how you guys are from Southern Ontario, right? And you
Yes.
Ended up near Thunder Bay, so.
Yes, so we had the opportunity, Beef Farmers of Ontario invited us to come on a Beef North tour. And that's when we were introduced to the beautiful landscape and the farming opportunity in Thunder Bay.
And how long have you been here for?
We moved here in 2019, July of 2019, so this is our 5-year anniversary coming up.
Congrats. That's awesome. So we took a look in the store, and I'll show some footage of that while we're talking about it, but maybe just tell us a little bit about what you guys sell.
The landscape here is prime beef country. So we've established a strong market for the local beef. So we raise primarily beef cattle here on the farm, and then direct market all the different beef cuts, ranging from our really good prime steaks to the beef burgers, the fajita strips, and all the different beef cuts.
And so everything you sell is just local?
Yes, everything stays locally here within the Thunder Bay area.
Are you guys like hormone free and?
So we don't use any additional growth hormones in raising our cattle. So we try to raise them as naturally as possible, giving them the time to graze on grass and pasture as much as possible, and then they will be finished primarily on barley. And that with the barley finishing, that gives us that really nice white fat cap and the white marbling in the meat.
So they're primarily raised in the fields then?
Especially during this age. So we calve anywhere between starting end of February. We still have a few late stragglers that are supposed to be calving. And during that time, they will be in pasture, cow-calf pairs, until they come home in the fall.
So this is very different than industrial farming.
Yes.
Which is great.
We do a rotational grazing. So they were in a paddock up along the road. And well, initially when we first put them out in the spring, they were in the far back corner. Yeah. So we have it separated in individual paddocks so we can rotate them through the different pastures, and that encourages and helps the grass grow better, and it lengthens the grazing season. Because otherwise they just run around all over the place picking the best of the best. Yeah. And don't actually clean it up. Yeah. It's amazing how well they grow once they're out on pasture like this. They just clean up and mama has milk and they just keep growing.
Yeah, I guess this is where cows are meant to be.
It is. It's fresh air. It's the wide open space.
So do the dogs help with wrangling the cows? Or? No?
I wish, but no. No. They're too friendly for that. Yeah. We've tried, but yeah, the view here is what kind of finalized the decision when we first looked at buying the property. Yeah. And I mean, the opportunity is huge. It's incredible here. But then pairing the view with the opportunity, it was, yeah, let's sign those documents.
And how do you find Northwestern, or well, I guess this is Northwestern.
It is Northwestern Ontario. Winters are cold, summers are short, yeah. But it's very similar to what I grew up with in Northern Alberta. So coming from Southern Ontario versus Northern Alberta, we're halfway home. So it's really not that much different.
Why did you get into harvest hosting?
Well, we've often thought about like having a bed and breakfast or sharing this beautiful property and beautiful space with other people. And that's when I decided, well, we may as well just sign up with Harvest Host and see what happens. It's kind of like dipping our toes in the water in the whole hosting side of things. And it's been great. We've had so many amazing people stop in from Belgium, from Germany, from China, from France, and then of course, our Ontario travelers as well. It's amazing having that opportunity. As farmers, we sometimes build our own bubble, right? And we don't have the opportunity to go tour the world, primarily because of the responsibility that we have here. But again, Northern Ontario is so beautiful, and putting a mark on the map that gives people the opportunity to, and the reason to get off the Trans-Canada Highway and really see some of the gems that are hidden in the far backcountry roads.
Big thanks to Carolyn for showing me around the farm. I feel like us city folks also live in a bubble, and it was really eye-opening to speak to a real farmer. So now let's sample the product. Yum. So this is weird. I got 2 cows staring me down as I'm cooking this steak. You think they know I'm grilling one of their brethren? It's a very, very weird vibe. And of course, we've got some hopeful dogs hanging around as well. Maybe the dogs are on my side though. The finished product. It's weird cooking it though with literally 2 cows 6 feet away from me staring me down while I was cooking it. That was a bit strange. But I don't know if they knew what was going on, or maybe they thought I was going to feed them too. I'm not sure. Very tender, juicy. Just in case you think I'm just having steak, I did make some rice and veggies too. But the steak is definitely the star of this show. Misty Creek Homestead. Check it out. It's a little tip to keep the grease out of your gray tank. So, you know, there's quite a bit of fat. It's a little bit congealed on the plate now from the steak. So I'm going to wipe the worst of it off with the paper towel before I wash it. And that'll keep this fat that can thicken up and congeal out of the tank. Good morning at Misty Creek Homestead, and the farm's pretty much asleep except for this guy. Hey buddy, you always want to come over. The cows were away for a bit. They seem to have come back. I'm hoping I don't get hassled by cows when I'm hooking up. Hello. Hello. Oh, somebody's got a scratch saw. Yeah. All in all, this was a lot of fun, and I got quite a bit of work done as well. But now we are going to head along the north shore of Lake Superior, which I think is one of the most scenic drives in all of Canada, frankly. And that's including the Rockies and everything. So I'm hoping to get some good footage of that for you. Let's go. Before we get to the North Shore, we have one quick stop right around the corner from the farm. This is Kakabeka Falls, the Niagara Falls of the North. Let's take a look. Now we gotta hit the road. We got a lot of driving ahead of us. It's finally time for that North Shore of Superior drive between Thunder Bay and Sault Ste. Marie. Today we're covering 600 miles, so there won't be any hikes, but brace yourself for incredible highway views and stunning lookouts. Plus, stay tuned until the end as we wrap up with a full rundown of my learnings and how much I spent on this trip.
This is as good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel the sun on my skin, beginning to thaw from within. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon in the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny, but they've all gone out the window of this car. And when I feel the wind on my face, all that ever was is a wreck. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today Something's gotta give. Today is a good day. Today and not tomorrow. There's no time to borrow. Today, something's gotta.
So the original plan was to stay in the Sioux, but my daughter's birthday is tomorrow, so I'm gonna go a little bit further, get a little bit closer to Toronto so that I can make the party, seeing as how I'm actually getting back a little bit earlier than I originally anticipated. So we're gonna stay at Chutes in Massey, which is kind of halfway in between Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury, a little bit closer to Sudbury actually. And that'll just leave me with, I think, a 5 or so hour drive to get home tomorrow, which will be awesome. Through the magic of video, I'm back in Toronto now. Let's take a look at how much I spent and what I learned on this 13-day, almost 3,000-mile trip. Now, I should say right off the bat that all of the dollar amounts that I'm going to give you are in Canadian dollars. If you want to know what it would be in US dollars, just take 25% less than whatever the amount is. So here we go. I spent $544.73 on food, $1,363.89 on gas, $33.80 on Harvest Hosts tours, and $514.23 on park camping and day passes. I also spent $81.32 to fix a propane leak on the trailer and $41.66 on highway tolls. That works out to a grand total of $2,579.63, or just under $200 a day. All in all, that's not bad. That's about what I would pay for just a hotel room if I was staying in hotels, and then I'd have to pay for the gas and the food on top of that. However, it is still more than I was hoping to spend. So that brings me to my learnings. Number one, big miles makes RVing harder and more expensive. You'll see that I spent more than half of my budget on fuel because it costs a lot of fuel to tow one of these things. And I also spent more money on food because in order to make the big driving distances, I ended up eating out in order to save time. Plus, driving a lot tires you out a lot, and it also makes getting your work done a lot harder. So all in all, big miles makes it tougher. Number two, campsites are expensive. Even with staying in 3 nights of Harvest Hosts, I still ended up spending $40 per night on camping. If I'm gonna be a full-time RVer, this is probably something I'm gonna have to reduce by looking at dispersed camping and boondocking and so on. Number three, Harvest Hosts are a great way to save money, but it is a bit of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, obviously, you don't have to pay for the camping, and you end up getting something else for that money, so you might get some food, some steak, some meat, a bottle of wine, you name it. On the downside, however, you are tied to the host's schedule, so if they close at 6 p.m., that means you kind of need to get there like at 5:30 p.m., and that limits your flexibility in terms of how long you can drive and also what you can do on the drive. There is one other big benefit though, and that is just connecting with farmers and producers. So I feel like us folks in the city and the folks in the country maybe don't talk to each other enough, and this is a great opportunity for us to get out there and see what the farmers are going through and what it's like for them. Number four, working on the road. So if you want to work in an online type of business like YouTube while you're full-time RVing, you're definitely not going to be able to do it using cell signal. So I tried to do that on this trip, and I can say unequivocally it did not work. Cell signal is too spotty. So I'm definitely going to have to look into Starlink if I want to work from the rig on the road. Number five, after yet another unnecessary gravel road detour, courtesy of Google Maps, I'm definitely going to have to get a paper backup map. Now, I've been saying this for quite a few trips, but I think I've finally gotten to the point where I know I need to. Thankfully, this gravel road wasn't so bad, but we have had some much worse experiences when Google has led us down the wrong roads, so it's time to get a paper map. All right, so that's all for my learnings. I hope that helps you out if you're thinking about going full-time, or just if you're thinking about doing a really long trip. That should give you an idea of some of the things to look for. Coming up on the channel, we have 2 more Scamp walkthroughs, obviously lots more lightweight RV walkthroughs. We're also going to be doing a family trip through the North Shore of Superior again, and all the way to a very famous beach destination. So make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exciting stuff that we have coming up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.